Hello everyone, my name is Ron Shelton, artist from Lakewood, Ohio. I'm giving an instructional video of how to construct the wire frames for our cone hats. We start with this wire, which is, they call it tire wire. It's approximately 10 gauge wire, which isn't too thin nor is it too heavy. And we first start by cutting 4 pieces of wire, and each piece of wire is 38 inches. Okay, and I've already woven in 3 of the wires around the cone, and I have holes at the bottom of the cone base, and I join the wires through the holes and wrap it over top of the cone. So this is actually the last wire. I've already installed 3 wires. This is the last wire. When you put the wire in the cone, you sort of bend it so it stays secure inside of the hole. You wrap the wire around and put it in its adjacent hole, and then you bend it to secure it. So you now have the wires that you need for the base structure. And then you're going to weave the wires to create a supported frame. You're going to weave wire throughout the structure. And I usually cut each wire approximately like 20, 30 inches. And first, you crimp the wire. You attach it to the top. You will go to start out at the very top of the front of the structure, and then you fasten the wire in with pliers very tightly so the wire does not move around. And then you proceed by wrapping the wire, and I usually weave it over, under, and around the structure, over and under. This creates a steady, firm structure that will hold its shape. Okay, as you go over, you spiral the wire down the piece. And this project is a part of an ongoing project that I've been working on. It's dealing with plastics. And once these cones are constructed, I have actually been shipping these cone structures to artists to embellish. And what they're embellishing them with is plastics. I have artists, this project is called HAF Connects. We received a grant from the Cleveland Foundation, and we are looking at plastics. Plastics is a very harmful, damaging, menacing element that is not sustainable, meaning it does not break down. Plastics last forever. And our society is overwhelmed with plastics. Our society is becoming dependent on plastics as far as packaging, hospital equipment, and large companies are just continually, they're building factories to create more plastic. And plastic is a huge problem to land and water, and it's a huge plastic to animal and ocean animals, fish, whales. So this project is to bring a global awareness to how plastic is affecting our communities. So these wire frame structures will be embellished with plastic, and we will actually have a major exhibit, and we like to tour this show around the world. We have artists from Ghana, Korea, El Salvador, and like 7 or 8 artists from the United States participating in this project. So once we get to the end of the wire we use, we crimp the wire, and then we fasten into place very tightly so the wire does not move. And you want to create this joining point. You want to create at least 3 points, 3 wires adjoined to the frame to keep the structure firm. If you just have one piece of continuous wire, the shape is just not as strong. By these points of connection points, the structure remains strong and it holds its shape without moving. So that's one piece of wire. Then we're going to move to the next piece of wire, which is like approximately 30 inches. I'm just going to cut another piece. $30. Okay, again, start each wire by crimping or curling it. And you want to pick up where you left off, the same point, the curl, and then secure it with a lot of pressure to make sure the wire is secure and does not move around. Then you start the same process over. You go over, under, over, under, over, under, over, okay, we're at the end of that piece of wire. And this time because right at this point here, you have a little excess wire, so you just cut that wire down just a little bit. Make your curl or crimp. And then you hook it onto that wire there, and then squeeze the wire onto the other wire so it's really secure and does not move. And then you start again where you left off. Coil or crimp the wire. Start it where you left off. Tighten it, flatten it, secure it. Give it a lot of pressure to squeeze the wire onto the wire so it doesn't move around. Then you start the process over. Under, over, under. Actually, this wire did not secure, so you want to tighten. See how it's loose? You want to make sure it's tight. There, it's tight, so the wire doesn't move. You continue with the alternating weave onto the cone. So this is our third piece of wire, and in this case we're using the last wire is the fourth wire on the structure. So you want to coil or crimp the third wire. And you want to keep spacing, make sure the wire is spaced along the cone. So you don't want them too close. Then you hook the wire on the form and crimp the wire till it's very secure that it doesn't move. And this will be the last wire. Give it a nice coil. pick up where you left off with the pliers, squeeze it very tight so that the wire does not, well, it's moving, so you got to give it more squeeze, a tighter squeeze, so the wire does not move. And you pick up, go over, this will be the last coil. So this final wire will be actually the base of the structure. So we're coming to the end of it. Crimp the piece of wire, coil it, and then hook it onto the wire and squeeze it very tightly. So that is the cone. Now we want to cut each of the wire that's inside the base one by one. Cut the wire, coil it very tightly, tight coil, wrap it onto the base wire, make sure it's tight, make sure the wire doesn't move around. You go to your next wire, cut it from the base. Hook the wire. Hook it onto the base wire. And you just complete this process around the circumference of the base. Make sure it's really tight. To the next wire, hook the wire, then hook it onto the base wire, crimp the wire. Very tight. Hook the wire, crimp. Cut, hook, hook it onto the base, and crimp. Very tight. This is the final wire. Hook the wire and hook it to the base. And crimp. So the structure is complete. Now you have this is the most exciting time of this process, where you lift the cone. There's actually one more step we want to do before we lift it. We want to take a small piece of wire, about 3 inches, and you want to clamp all of the wires at the top of the cone to secure the wires so they won't move around. And you just sort of wrap it, twist it, so they're all secured. And then you take the excess and cut it. And now you're ready to lift the cone, wire form, off of the cone base. That is your wire. So now we're ready to embellish the wire structure with plastic.